Did you know there's a restaurant you eat at every day that has been involved in some of the deadliest food poisoning incidents in U.S. history? Or that 305 patrons fell ill with norovirus within the space of 1 month after dining at one of the most famous restaurants in the U.S.? What if I told you that Burger King consistently racks up the highest number of critical health code violations per restaurant in the United States? Well, in the next 20 minutes, I'll walk you through 7 restaurants where you shouldn't eat and why. Make sure to watch until the end, because the last one will surely blow your mind. 1. Panera Bread. Panera Bread is a well-known fast casual restaurant chain in the United States, famous for its bakery cafe-style menu featuring soups, salads, sandwiches, and a focus on clean ingredients. Founded in 1987, Panera has grown significantly and now operates over 2,000 locations across the US and Canada, with some presence internationally. The company is owned by Jabi Holding Company, a Luxembourg-based investment firm that also owns other food and beverage brands like Pret A Manger and Peet's Coffee. But despite its sparkling reputation for fresh and wholesome food, Panera is one of the places you must avoid dining at all costs, and I'll tell you why. First, the restaurant has recently faced serious scrutiny and legal challenges that have tarnished its image, particularly revolving around its charged lemonade beverage. This drink, marketed as a plant-based, clean energy option with caffeine comparable to dark roast coffee, has been linked to multiple wrongful death lawsuits, including the tragic case of Sarah Katz, a 21-year-old University of Pennsylvania student with a pre-existing heart condition who suffered cardiac arrest hours after consuming the drink in 2022. Even if we say that's just one isolated tragic incident and overlook it, can we also overlook the fact that Panera continued to sell this highly caffeinated drink without clear, prominent warnings for months afterward? The charged lemonade contains up to 390 milligrams of caffeine in a 30-ounce serving, more than a Red Bull and Monster energy drink combined, and includes guarana extract, another stimulant. For context, the FDA recommends no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day for most adults, so one drink nearly maxes that out. Yes, Panera later added warnings and disclaimers advising moderation and caution for children, pregnant or nursing women, and those sensitive to caffeine. However, these came only after lawsuits began piling up. So even if you think the company is trying to be transparent now, the question remains, why were these warnings not clear or prominent from the start? Let's even take it a step further and say that these caffeine content and warning issues aren't unique to Panera. After all, many beverages have high caffeine levels, right? That still doesn't change the fact that Panera marketed the charged lemonade alongside non-caffeinated and low-caffeine drinks without adequately distinguishing it as a potent energy beverage. This marketing approach misled consumers, including those with health conditions, into thinking it was a safe, everyday refreshment rather than a stimulant-packed drink that could pose serious risks. For example, Sarah Katz had been advised by her doctors to avoid energy drinks due to her long QT syndrome, yet she was exposed to this product without sufficient warning. That's a critical failure in responsible marketing. Moving on, another wrongful death lawsuit was filed after Dennis Brown, a 46-year-old Florida man with multiple health issues, died following his consumption of 3 charged lemonades over 2 weeks. This pattern suggests a systemic problem in how Panera handled product safety and customer information. But it gets worse. Beyond these deaths, 2 additional lawsuits allege that the charged lemonade caused permanent heart problems in otherwise healthy individuals. So the drink's potential for harm extends beyond those with known heart conditions. This raises serious questions about the safety testing and health impact assessments Panera conducted before launching such a potent, caffeinated product under the guise of a clean beverage. When you combine all these factors, it paints a troubling picture. If you value your health and safety, these facts alone are reason enough to make a U-turn and go to another restaurant. However, make sure that the other restaurant is not Hardee's. Second, Hardee's. Hardee's is a fast food chain founded by Wilbur Hardy, who opened the first Hardee's restaurant in Greenville, North Carolina on September 3, 1960. It started as a simple drive-in offering affordable charbroiled hamburgers, fries, and milkshakes, quickly gaining popularity. By the end of the 1960s, Hardee's had grown to nearly 200 locations, even expanding internationally to places like Heidelberg, Germany. Now that we've gotten all that introduction out of the way, let's focus on the main agenda. Why shouldn't you eat at Hardee's? Let's start with the first glaring issue. The chain has been cited repeatedly for the presence of insects and rodents, accumulating 206 critical violations in health inspections. This is not a minor inconvenience by any standards. As a matter of fact, pests in a restaurant pose serious health hazards. For some perspective, rodents and insects can contaminate food with bacteria and diseases, risking foodborne illnesses for customers. As if that isn't enough, Hardee's has a long history of inconsistent food quality and service. The chain's reputation took a nosedive by the 1990s, with customers complaining about unpredictable food quality and confusing menu changes. For example, Hardee's once displaced Wendy's as the third largest burger chain, but then spiraled downward due to poor service and food inconsistency. Hardee's has also been flagged for numerous critical violations, including improper food handling, inaccurate food temperatures, and unsanitary kitchen conditions. And while it's not always publicly emphasized, improper temperature control can allow harmful bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli to thrive, leading to food poisoning outbreaks. Now, this raises a very critical question. Can you really trust your meal when these basic safety protocols are not consistently followed? But before you answer, it's only right you know that Hardee's has been involved in multiple customer complaints and lawsuits related to foodborne illnesses. It goes without saying that when a restaurant chain has a track record of such serious health issues, it's a red flag that should not be ignored. Even if Hardee's is working on addressing these problems, the question remains, do their efforts translate into a better experience for customers? The answer seems to be no, as customer reviews frequently cite poor service, incorrect orders, and unsanitary dining areas. For example, some locations have been reported to have dirty tables, sticky floors, and unclean restrooms. These factors contribute to an overall unpleasant and potentially unsafe dining experience. So, unless you have to choose between Hardee's and Wendy's, don't eat at Hardee's. Third, Wendy's. Founded in 1969 by Dave Thomas in Columbus, Ohio, Wendy's has grown into a major player with about 5,960 locations across the United States and roughly 7,095 worldwide, covering 30 countries. The company is currently owned by the Wendy's Company, headquartered in Dublin, Ohio, and generates around $2.1 billion in annual revenue. But despite this strong brand presence and loyal customer base, there are some serious reasons why you shouldn't eat at Wendy's. First of all, there's the problem of employee food safety training and compliance. Over the years, Wendy's has been cited multiple times for workers failing to produce valid food handlers cards upon inspection. In fact, in some inspections, only a fraction of employees could show these required certifications, which are crucial for ensuring that staff understand proper hygiene and food safety protocols. Now, even if you decide to overlook or manage that concern, can you also overlook the fact that Wendy's has been cited for employees handling ready-to-eat food with bare hands? Bare hand contact is a major no-no in food safety because it's a direct route for pathogens to contaminate food. This practice, observed in some Wendy's locations, increases the risk of spreading germs and causing foodborne illnesses. It's one thing if a chain struggles with employees' required certification, but when combined with poor hygiene practices, the risk multiplies. Maybe, just maybe, Wendy's is working on these issues. But are they addressing pest invasion as well? I say pest invasion because mice droppings have been found on shelves in some Wendy's restaurants, which is a serious sanitation failure. Rodents carry bacteria and viruses that can contaminate food and surfaces, posing a significant health threat. This kind of infestation is more than just an unpleasant sight. It's a clear indicator of poor cleanliness and can lead to outbreaks of disease. And if you're still willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, consider this. Wendy's has had at least one confirmed foodborne illness complaint linked to a location in Mesa, Arizona. Foodborne illness outbreaks are the worst-case scenario for any restaurant because they directly harm customers. When a restaurant has a history of such incidents, it raises serious questions about their overall commitment to food safety. So when you put it all together, it's best to look elsewhere for your food. Fourth, Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is a fast food chain founded way back in 1951 by Robert O. Peterson in San Diego, California. It started as a small hamburger stand equipped with an intercom system and a drive-through window. Pretty innovative for the time. The chain now has over 2,200 locations, mainly on the West Coast, but also in big urban areas across the US and even a couple of spots in Guam. Jack in the Box is famous for its diverse menu, but infamous for accumulating 164 critical violations in health inspections. These violations point to serious lapses in food safety and hygiene. Okay, 164 violations spread over thousands of locations might not be that bad, but the problem is that these violations include things that can directly impact your health. Take the Ventura, California location, for example. It's been flagged as a trouble spot with multiple customer complaints about food poisoning. That's a red flag indicating systemic issues at that outlet, which could easily reflect broader problems in the chain's food handling practices. In 1993, the chain was infamously linked to a massive E. coli outbreak, one of the deadliest food poisoning incidents in U.S. history, which sickened hundreds and led to several deaths. This tragedy exposed serious flaws in their food safety protocols, particularly regarding undercooked beef patties. Sure, that was decades ago and the company has since revamped its procedures, but does that past not cast a long shadow over their current operations? It's a tough sell to just forget that history when food safety is literally a matter of life and death. Let's even say the company has taken steps to improve since then, implementing stricter cooking standards and employee training. Still, that doesn't answer the question, how consistent are these improvements across thousands of locations? The fact that critical violations continue to pile up suggests that compliance is spotty at best. In many fast food chains, franchisees operate with varying degrees of oversight, meaning some locations might cut corners to save time or money, putting customers at risk. And it's not just about the big outbreaks or violations. Jack in the Box has also been criticized for poor employee hygiene practices, such as inadequate hand washing and improper food handling. These issues are often cited in health inspection reports and customer complaints. Even if you think that happens everywhere, does that make it any less concerning? Moreover, the chain's menu complexity might be contributing to these problems. Jack in the Box offers a wide range of items, from burgers and fries to tacos, egg rolls, and breakfast sandwiches, meaning kitchens have to juggle multiple cooking methods and ingredients. This complexity can increase the chance of cross-contamination or improper cooking, especially during busy hours or late-night shifts when staff might be stretched thin. Customers also report receiving cold or incorrect orders, which might seem like minor annoyances, but can also indicate deeper operational inefficiencies. If a restaurant can't consistently get simple things right, how can you trust it to maintain rigorous food safety standards? I'll let you answer that in the comments. In short, even if you're tempted by their 24/7 menu and bold flavor fusions, the risks associated with Jack in the Box's food safety and quality issues make it a chain worth avoiding. Your health and peace of mind are worth more than a quick burger or taco, no matter how iconic the clown on the sign might be. Fifth, Golden Corral. Golden Corral made our list for some of the worst reasons, but we'll get to that in a jiffy. In the meantime, Golden Corral is an American all-you-can-eat buffet and grill chain that started back in 1973. It was founded by James Maynard and William F. Carl, who came up with the idea after struggling to acquire franchises with other companies. The first Golden Corral family steakhouse opened its doors in Fayetteville, North Carolina, marking the beginning of what would become a widespread buffet chain. Today, Golden Corral is privately held and headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina. It has grown to nearly 400 locations across 41 states in the U.S., with Texas alone hosting 55 restaurants, the most of any state. However, despite its popularity and long history, there are several reasons why you should never eat at Golden Corral. For starters, there have been viral outbreaks linked to Golden Corral. A notorious example occurred in Casper, Wyoming, where at least 305 patrons fell ill with norovirus after dining at the Golden Corral restaurant between November and December of 2012. Norovirus is highly contagious and causes severe gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. The outbreak was so severe that a class action lawsuit was filed against the restaurant. Investigations revealed that 31 employees were infected while working, which likely contributed to the spread. Then there's the issue of cleanliness and sanitation. A viral video from a Florida Golden Corral employee exposed meat being kept outside proper refrigeration during a health inspection, which led to the manager's firing. This kind of negligence is alarming because it shows a disregard for basic food safety protocols. Even if you want to believe this was a one-off incident, local health inspections in other locations have found repeated critical violations like improper food temperatures and unsanitary conditions. For instance, the Glen Burnie location had repeated critical violations within days of each other. Can you really trust that the food you're eating is safe when these violations are not isolated incidents, but recurring across multiple locations? While you ponder that, it's worth pointing out that Golden Corral's buffet model itself poses inherent risks. Buffets require food to be kept out for extended periods, exposed to air, and handled by numerous customers. This environment is a breeding ground for cross-contamination and bacterial growth if not managed perfectly. Even with Golden Corral's claims of rigorous food safety training and frequent audits, the sheer scale of their operations, nearly 400 locations and thousands of employees, makes consistent enforcement challenging. Perhaps the worst and most alarming issue is the documented outbreaks of foodborne illness and the legal consequences that followed. Beyond the Wyoming norovirus outbreak, Golden Corral has faced multiple lawsuits and health department investigations for food poisoning incidents. The fact that such outbreaks have occurred multiple times suggests systemic problems in food safety management. Even if you want to believe that these are just a few bad apples, it's better safe than sorry. 6th, Burger King. If you're thinking about grabbing a meal at Burger King, you might want to pause and consider a few hard facts that paint a pretty troubling picture about this fast food giant. Let's start with nutrition. Burger King's food is notoriously packed with fat, sodium, and calories at levels that really raise eyebrows. For example, their bacon double cheeseburger clocks in at a staggering 950 calories, 42 grams of fat, and 1,520 milligrams of sodium. Numbers that are roughly double what you'd find in similar items from competitors like McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. This means a single meal here can easily blow past daily recommended limits, contributing to health issues like hypertension and heart disease over time. As if that isn't enough, Burger King consistently racks up the highest number of critical health code violations per restaurant in the United States. The restaurant has been identified as the dirtiest fast food chain in America, with reports of everything from rats appearing in stores to employees engaging in shockingly unsanitary behavior. Like the infamous incident where an employee took a bubble bath in a kitchen sink back in 2008. And it doesn't end there. Burger King has had multiple incidents linked to contaminated food that caused real harm. There have been cases where chicken nuggets contain plastic pieces, as well as outbreaks of food poisoning traced back to their restaurants. That's a red flag, no matter who you ask. It's only fair to mention that Burger King has attempted to clean up its image. However, their efforts have often backfired. Their Moldy Burger campaign in 2020, meant to showcase the absence of preservatives, ironically highlighted the very real problem of food spoilage and poor quality control. Meanwhile, in places like Europe and parts of Asia, Burger King locations tend to be much cleaner and safer, thanks to stricter health inspections, which only shows how lax and inconsistent standards are in the US. So even if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt on nutrition, cleanliness, food safety, and corporate ethics, can you really ignore the fact that the brand itself struggles to maintain basic quality standards here at home? My advice is to stay clear. 7, KFC. KFC has a documented history of food safety violations that are more than just minor slip-ups. Across multiple locations in the US and abroad, health inspections have uncovered critical issues like improper food handling, poor hygiene practices, and inadequate cooking or storage temperatures. These are the exact kinds of failures that lead to foodborne illness outbreaks. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the majority of foodborne outbreaks in the US happen in restaurants, often due to these very reasons. KFC's fast-paced environment and high volume of customers make strict food safety protocols essential, yet reports show they often fall short. And that's not even the worst part. Do you know that KFC has been involved in scandals involving expired and contaminated meat? In China, for example, a supplier to KFC was caught using expired meat in their chicken products. This kind of scandal not only risks customer health, but also exposes how complex and sometimes shady supply chains can be, especially for global fast food giants. Suppliers in China have also been caught pumping chickens with illegal antibiotics and growth hormones to speed up growth. This not only raises ethical questions about animal welfare, but also serious health concerns for consumers, as these substances can have harmful effects on humans, including antibiotic resistance and other long-term health risks. KFC's hygiene issues extend beyond just the food itself. There have been multiple reports of unsanitary conditions in their restaurants, including rat infestations, moldy kitchen vents, and dirty prep areas. One particularly shocking incident involved a KFC in Maricopa, Arizona, where health inspectors found no hand soap at sinks, employees touching cooked chicken with bare hands, and food debris caked all over surfaces. The place was described as having hygiene comparable to a gas station bathroom. So, if you care about what you're putting in your body and want to avoid unnecessary health risks, it's worth avoiding eating at these restaurants and looking for safer, cleaner alternatives. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please check out other similar videos on our channel, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends to keep them safe as well. See you soon!